Welcome to season 3 of The Skinny. I'm your host, SHAYZON. So many things happening all at the same time. Incredible conversations and movements that have been ignited and reignited. Much to learn and even relearn. This season on The Skinny, we dig deeper, cutting the fat and getting right down to the nitty-gritty on topics that impact our lives. I'm so excited to highlight amazing stories and facilitate impassioned voices and conversations, eager to share, learn, grow, and evolve with you into more amazing, enlightened, and empowered souls. So come on, honey bunnies, let's do this. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Skinny. Today, back by popular demand, is none other than Michael, my best friend, my partner in crime, my crazy buddy, my hubba-tubs. Yes, so he is in studio with me today. He is co-hosting, by the way. He is not a guest. He is co-hosting. So we're going to knock this out together. It's going to be a two-way street. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for it.
Okay. Well, we're so happy that you're here with us. And thank you guys for all of the great feedback that you have given us over the past episodes and all of the amazing feedback that you've also given us from our partnered episodes. First, he was here on the very first episode of the season as our guest, and he returned a couple episodes as a co-host. So for this last episode of the season, and to end out the year, he's here again.
I'm very glad to be back.
Yes, I kept my word.
Yes, you did, for a change. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
I'm joking.
Oh my God. You're mean.
You always keep your word.
I do. Okay, so you guys are now in our living room, and we're talking about the ending of the year and all that we've all been going through this year, having a conversation about New Year's resolutions. And it's like a tradition for so many of us to do. But how does it look for everyone this year? Is this something that we're looking forward to making? Are we confused? Have we lost faith in New Year's resolutions? Because many of us at the beginning of the year saw either posts or people saying or prophets saying and all kind of things coming through that 2020 is our year. But as always, things come along the way that remind us that we are not in control of anything. Everything is pretty much an unknown. So
life happens.
Yeah, it does. What are your feelings about resolutions?
I've never really had to do them.
What do you mean had to?
Yeah.
Nobody has to.
Well, people want to, or people do it.
Yeah. You've never felt the need.
Yeah, I never felt the need to do it because what is a resolution? I mean, a resolution is something you're going to change or something that.
Well, pretty much the resolution is what you're setting up in hopes of achieving in the new year, or it's things that you want to change, either actions or things about yourself in the new year. So it's like you're setting up this outline, and many of the resolutions have dates attached to them.
Okay. So, I mean, if it's something that was going to change, I never really changed, had things that I wanted to change. So a lot of people that have gained weight in one year and they want to change and they want to lose weight the next year, right? So, nah, not so much. I guess I've always been very goal-oriented anyway. So I don't really see the end of the year and the start of the year. It's just my life. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to continue this. I mean, whenever it happens, it happens, but I'm taking actions towards my goals. So it might not happen in this year, but there's no stamp on it. I just see that I'm progressing towards my goal.
Because, I mean, this time of year is usually when people start evaluating what they've accomplished, what they didn't accomplish, and, start planning for how they want to either finish out the year or how they want to start the year. So that's usually the motivator for, sitting down and calling it a resolution or setting it up as like the goals. And I think what it comes down to as well is the titling. I mean, you can slap a word on anything or a title on anything, and your perspective mentally is going to shift.
Absolutely.
And so with you setting goals, that could be another word or perspective on someone else who's saying, hey, this is my resolution, or these are my New Year's resolutions.
If anything, I tend to look at birth dates, right? So, like, okay, well, in this year of my life, more so than the calendar year. Because and it just so happens that my birthday comes towards at the end of the year, so
your birthday's in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's in a few days. And, but I tend to look at that. So if someone's birthday is in April or if it's in June, I mean, I think you tend to want to have goals. Okay, I want to make this much money by the time I'm that age, or I want to live or travel these many places before I turn 40 or something. So, I think people might do that. But to tie it to the calendar year, to me, that's a little detrimental.
That's not your thing. Well, I like to look at life through chapters, and it does go back in agreement with what you say. It goes back to the birthday. Each birthday becomes that new chapter, which for some people, the big markers like the 20, the 25, the 30, and 40 are those major years that can sometimes put you into panic mode as you're approaching.
Sure.
I actually, for a number of years now, don't really subscribe to the New Year's resolutions. I prefer intentions. Like, what are my intentions for this year? Because and you and I have had this conversation where with the intentions, it's more of, this is what I am working towards. It's not set up where I feel, and I don't know if this comes back down to the mental outlook of it, where the resolution seems to most times have dates attached to them, where if you don't achieve it, you feel somewhat disappointed or discouraged within yourself. So I personally prefer intentions. Like, these are my intentions, which allows grace along with it and a more realistic setup. And remembering, especially now in a time where there are so many unknowns. I mean, we're all in this time together where there's no telling. The 31st of December at midnight is not a magical minute. It's not like, okay, as soon as the clock hits 12, then things are just going to start over or miraculously change from one way.
Yeah, get better.
Yeah, from how it is right now. But I do know that mentally for some people, they look forward to that marker and it's necessary for them to have that outlook so that they have more of a tangible moment in life that they can press reset.
Yeah, I mean, and to each their own. I mean, there's no
absolutely.
When it comes to that, I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. It's just what works for the person. I would say one thing that I do recall in my office, I found a sheet of paper, and I forgot from what year it was, but it was from a few years back, and on it I had more than a handful of things that I was going to have from coding languages and just different things that I was going to learn. I said, yep, I was going to learn all this stuff. Not one thing on there did I do in that year.
But before you go how did you feel when you saw that paper and realized that you hadn't done anything on that list? What was that feeling?
Yeah, I felt like crap. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's like feel like crap. I mean, it's like, oh man. And of course, there's a bunch of other things that I achieved that year that I don't even recall. That I don't recall firsthand, right? And I think that's how a lot of us go through life. We always remember the failures. We always remember oh man, I could have done this, or I didn't do that, or whatever. Very rarely do we remember, wow, the amount of good things or successes that we achieved in any particular time frame.
There's one thing that I've been doing since a teenager. I think I've shown you this paper that I have stuck in my Bible, which is now a few papers. But I don't know that specific thing at that time that prompted me to start doing it as a teenager, where it was major accomplishments that I achieved that I decided to jot them down. I can't remember exactly right now what was the first thing something on there, because that would probably help me to remember what provoked that decision for me to do it. And I have been doing that until now, because those were moments that were so significant and I was so grateful to God for. And those were like wow moments, like, wow, God, whoa, this had to be God's hand on my efforts and work for this to happen. I'm so grateful that I've been consistent in that, because it does allow me to go back through periodically. I don't look at it all the time, but periodically allows me to go back through, because you do have those down moments. That's why for some people journaling is so important. Keeping a diary of these things are so important, because we all have those down moments where we feel like, I haven't done anything with my life. What am I doing? I haven't achieved anything in so long. But we get so clouded in those moments that those are helpers, you know, when we're able to then have that tangible thing that showed, hey, I wrote this 15 years ago. That kind of thing, I think, is really good.
I think you're right on the money with that. And, you know, even when you look at, for most of us, if we work inside of a corporation or some business of size, you have an end-of-year review, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have this end-of-year review, and in it, it's actually the primary goal of it is to see, okay, what are your successes? Mm-hmm. So you're going to show the amount of things that you have done to benefit the company. And in doing that, that's also going to, in some cases, go towards a bonus or something, or maybe your raise for the next year or whatever, right? And I think that's good, just like you said, like in our lives, because someone might be entering into 2021 rather than looking at, okay, in the next year, I'm going to do this or change this or whatever. Just take time and reflect for the year, you know, the year behind. And the fact that you're just living, that's number one.
Yeah.
A lot of people might have said, okay, well, I wanted to travel and I didn't get to travel because of COVID and all this stuff, whatever. Well, then you start looking at the things that you did. Hey, first of all, I survived. You know, I lived.
Right.
If you woke up every morning and you're able to eat breakfast, you know, from the small things to the larger things. If you have children and you kept them alive, then choke them.
And fed and healthy, yeah.
That's another thing. I mean, so it's definitely from the small things that, you know, we just have to be thankful for.
Yeah, and those small things, when you do tune into them in that way, they add up so quickly that by the time you're conscious of it, a lot of the down moments that feel so overwhelming then become minimized. There's this quote that I saw that I really like. You've gotten through everything up to this moment. That's how resilient you are. That's how amazing and strong you are. And always remember that. And I wanted to definitely share that on this episode for everyone that's listening, because we're all in a different space. We all have different challenges right now, but it's something for us to definitely, and I use this word a lot, grace, and probably more so this year, because it has been challenging with the losses that have happened, whether it's with people or it's with jobs or careers and friendships and relationships. So many divorces have happened, so many friendships have been severed, and just the struggles, you know. But it's just to remember that as hard as it feels, or as hard as you may be on yourself because you didn't accomplish this, that, or whatever, I definitely wanted it to be a reminder that you are at this point. So it means that you're surviving. It means that you're fighting. It means that you will get to the other side, because if it's just this year alone that you look back on and all of the challenges that you were probably extremely afraid of during that time, you can see that it may not be an ideal situation or exactly how I would love it to be right now, but I can definitely say I am this many days ahead of when I thought. I can't make it another day. Yeah. You know, I was, go ahead.
And I was just gonna, because you mentioned a quote, I was going to mention something. It's not a quote, but it was a general that was
just as good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just as good.
But it was this general that was giving a speech to I think a graduating class or something, and he mentioned about the whole idea of acting, of initiating or starting something. And so he said, look, if you want to start something, make your bed. You know, it's like as simple as it may seem, but just it's just the act of getting something accomplished. If nothing else you accomplished, You might go and get chewed out by your boss, get into a fight with your significant other. Everything might go wrong, but at least you made your bed. So it's
You mean start your morning.
Yeah.
Let that be the thing that you accomplished that day.
There's one accomplishment, and that one accomplishment hopefully will spur on other accomplishments. Just like if you're, if all the gyms are closed, right, or at least depending on the city that you're in, and state. But if you can't get to the gym, hey, do one push-up. Just try and do like one push-up, because that act. And that's the main thing. I mean, if anything, that's what I try and tell myself to do going into the new year or a new birth year, or is just act.
Yeah.
Not just talk about it, don't just think about it, don't just write it down, but actually take the action of doing something.
A step.
Yeah.
Because some things that we want to achieve requires multiple steps. And so the steps that are involved can sometimes become intimidating or overwhelming, but that one step towards it is better than
no step at all.
No step at all. There was I was looking up some stuff about the pros and cons of doing the resolution, and according to ABS-CBN, I saw that some of the pros, just a couple of them, it allows you to reflect. The pros of making a resolution. It allows you to reflect because you're going through the previous year and seeing and analyzing what you've done or what you have achieved or haven't achieved to help you set up what you want to do. It triggers our desire to be better sometimes, and for some people, the deadlines are needed to motivate us.
True.
And that was their pros. The cons, we become too critical of ourselves. So despite being a great motivator, the whole resolution can also be the cause of self-criticism. And since we tend to look at our past as achievements, we end up focusing on the weaknesses and having that overshadow the achievements. So that's definitely a con. One of the other ones is every mistake discourages us. We sometimes look at every setback as a sign to stop instead of something that challenges us or helps us to do better the next time. And so we shouldn't forget that the biggest achievements take a lot of time and effort. So we have to understand that mistakes and downfalls are inevitable along the way. So it's just weighing it out. And the nuts and bolts of this is to make sure that we're allowing ourselves to have the best perspective, where at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, we're not beating ourselves up for the shortcomings, and we're not setting up so much ahead of us that as soon as we trip up on it, we start feeling discouraged or feeling like this isn't meant to be,
Sure. I mean, it's like, a pastor once said...
A pastor,
probably every pastor, probably every good pastor. But a setback can be a setup.
Yeah.
Or a stepping stone. To bigger things. It just all depends on your perspective and what's happening.
Right.
Also, the other thing is. See, there we go again.
I said absolutely. I just want to make note right now. My mouth is closed. I have said nothing, and I had nothing to do with...
But I can see your face.
Oh my gosh. So what? My face caused you to have a what?
Yeah.
Lose track of thought?
That's what a beautiful face can do.
I can't. I wasn't expecting you to say that. Okay, so let's look at the positive, because we have no problems in looking at the negatives. What would you say are the positive highlights from this year for you?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot. But I would say, and this is what I was going to say before, for me, I know I've been cranking. When I'm in the office, I mean, I'm cranking. I'm going. And there were several times that I thought prior to March, man, I just need a few days. Just need a few days so I could, get my creative outlet on. Do some creative things that are not 9 to 5, like corporate. And I just wanted that, right? Well, careful what you wish for, because I think that goes for a lot of us, and this is what I was going to say before, that a lot of us, we're so busy ripping and running throughout our lives, and sometimes you just need to sit your ass down. And that's what this period has been for the fortunate amongst us, because there's a lot, there's many that are losing everything because of the times that we're in.
Yeah.
But for the fortunate amongst us, it's, if anything, it's given us a time to just sit down
And put things into perspective and prioritize, reprioritize.
Take a breath, and in some cases, just take a breath, and it's not so much a vacation, but it's just a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you don't even realize it, but you're not even breathing. It's metaphorically, of course.
Yeah.
But
it does come down to so many times that we are running crazy. Our schedules are crazy and we're going and we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a moment to just sit and read a book, or I wish I had a moment to just watch a movie or play with my kids without having to be on this major deadline.
To a babysitter, picking up from school.
Yeah. And so it doesn't have to be this big, tremendous thing like, oh, I need a moment to
write the great American novel.
Right. You know what I mean? It could just be the simplest of things that we've been able to do that we can look at as now a blessing in a hard time. Spending more time eating dinner together with the family, or watching shows together, or couples having that much more time together. For some people, that's a nightmare.
Absolutely. A lot of breakups over the past 9 months.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember at the very beginning of this, I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of babies at the end of this. But at that point, had no idea that it would have lasted this long. I just thought that we were going to be staying home for a few weeks. And I just made that joke out of thinking it was going to be 4 weeks locked in or something, and it's true. There's so many people.
Yeah, they've, conceived, gone through the process and delivered.
So how has, let's be nosy here. How has life been with your girlfriend, your best friend, your ace, your home girl, the most beautiful girl in the world?
Okay.
Your wifey poo.
No,
how has it been?
Yeah, it's been great. It's again, and I always say this, for people that are in damaged relationships, it's torture. I really couldn't imagine it. I personally know that I'm not the person to stay in a relationship like that. So I really, you really have to know who you're getting involved with, and if anything, during this span of time, you have people that have formulated new relationships, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like virtually, and they've found their soulmates over the past 9 months. Other people, they've cut ties because
you realize it was unhealthy.
Yeah.
You had a moment to slow down and analyze things more in depthly and realize, this one doesn't need to live on.
Not at all.
Yeah. So you've had fun.
Yeah. I think we have a great relationship anyway. So this was like some people have posted over the past months saying, hey, my life has been preparing me for COVID. It's just in terms of isolation and not really dealing with people, and if anything, it's just the family, right? Family members that we haven't been able to see, close friends in other states that we haven't been able to see.
Yeah.
That's what's been missing. Not being able to, this is like the first holiday that we've had in years, without being able to gather with our loved ones. So but at the end of the day, we're still an immediate family, and thankfully, we're here together.
Yeah.
Again, heart breaks for those people who aren't able to do that, and for, of course, the elderly that
They aren't going to be able to get together.
Yeah, they can't get together.
Such a special time of year, and it's a time where people make huge sacrifices to either fly home or be together with friends. I always refer to friends that become family as like your chosen family, and it's that time definitely that's going to weigh differently for everyone, and you really don't know how it's going to weigh on you until the day actually arrives. It's definitely something that we look at like, oh yeah, we're gonna be fine. You just never know, because it's not an ideal situation for everyone, but the important thing is to, again, go back and try to look at the positives in there. Thank God for technology, thank God for Zoom, or thank God for FaceTime and all of those things, because it could be a different scenario where we don't even have that as an option to lean on during this time. Any other positive? Because you've been able to work
positives,
on some things.
Yeah, it's like, my business and the company and everything is still going well. So that's huge. Again, when you look at the food lines and you look at people getting laid off, and it's crazy. The disparity between the haves and the have-nots. And I was just mentioning to you yesterday that I heard about the centibillionaires. Like the 500 billionaires in the world, from Bezos and Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and I forgot the fifth one. But so you have people that have so much, mega wealthy.
Yeah.
And you have people that I was watching a program and they're just getting kicked out of their apartments because the rent forgiveness is just basically
rent out.
Yeah, they have to pay everything up in January. So they might have had 6 months of grace, but now you have to pay 6 months of rent in 1 month.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And you know what it comes down to as well, because the other day we were seeing, I don't remember what his name is, that I think it's still under investigation, but they said that it's possible that it may have been suicide, or he may have been, is it Zappos?
Yes, Zappos founder.
The founder of Zappos, that there it is, they were coming out and talking about the fact that he started, his friendships that he started hanging around with.
Hallucinogenics and mushrooms.
Yeah, and experimenting with the different drugs, those things.
Oxygen deprivation.
And to me, in cases like that, it's like, wow, so many people, like, you think, oh my gosh, if I had this much money, I'd be so happy. But then when you see people that they have not a worry in the world because they are millionaires or billionaires, but then there's still this space of emptiness or unhappiness, to the point where you're going to do stuff that could jeopardize all of your work or all of your efforts or all of your money. That to me is so incredibly sad. That here it is, I remember when we were listening to this, you even said something, you're like, oh my gosh, with that kind of money, there's so many things that you could be doing in the world. There's so many places to see, so many experiences to have, and in our conversation, it's so unfortunate that you can be at a place like that and still be so incredibly unhappy, because money doesn't do it. And you hear so many people saying it all the time. Money doesn't do it. I always say, if, capital IF, you're not happy within yourself. So the money's not going to make you happy. It can make you happier. From you're happy to you're happier. But if you are a lost soul, the money might be a big highlight or sparkly for a moment, but then that sadness is going to still overtake it.
Well, there's a program I was watching about Norway and the happiest place on earth, or one of the happiest places on earth. And it was so interesting because over there and some of those northern European countries, where they have a social infrastructure in place. So they don't have to pay for college, they don't have to pay for health care. A lot of these different things that you take for granted are basically subsidized by the government.
It's incorporated into their taxes. The taxes are higher, but then they have all of these benefits, which allow them to breathe free in their living.
Well, you just stole my thunder. Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah.
so
It's recorded, so
I'm sorry.
everyone will know. But
Go ahead, thunder on. I'm so sorry.
but that's essentially it. In America and a lot of the Western countries over here, where we're basically chasing the dollar, right? We're going after and saying, okay, yes, I'm going to get happy, and it's the pursuit of happiness. And in America, we can get so caught up in the pursuit that we never get to the happiness.
Yeah.
And that's the shame. So, and going into bringing it back, see how I brought this around, and going
go
into
ahead
the new
with your
year.
circularity.
Okay. And going into the new year, you might be pursuing that happiness, but definitely know that it's in the basic things. It's in your health. It's in your family. It's in your friends.
Yeah.
It's things are nice. Things are great to have, and it's always easy for someone who has things to say, "Oh, things aren't everything." Tell a person that who doesn't have a thing.
Right. It's just the same thing. It's like you have a millionaire saying to someone who's struggling to pay their bills, like, money isn't the thing. Money isn't going to bring you happiness or whatever. Oh, money can definitely acquire or help you to acquire the things that will make you happy. But again, it's not going to be your place of, it's not going to bring you joy.
I love this, and I don't remember who said it, doesn't really matter, but money gives you options. That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. You can determine where you want to live, you can determine what you want to wear. It just gives you options.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't give you happiness. So it gives you options, it doesn't give you happiness.
I can't remember if it was Oprah, maybe she said it, but it was a matter, I don't know if it's fame or if it was referencing money or one of those things, but the bottom line is that money isn't going to change who you are, but it will reveal who you are.
Yep.
So yeah, here we are at the end of the season. Gave it a go in the midst of crazy to just go ahead and plunge forward, even though the situation didn't seem ideal.
It goes right back to what I was saying, right, in terms of acting, and just the action. Because you could have been like, nah, forget it, next year. No, I mean, first of all, tomorrow's not promised to anyone.
Right.
And if you have an idea, just go ahead and try it. I mean, and in this case, in your case, it wasn't even about just trying it because you'd already been doing it. You'd taken a hiatus from season 2, but it was, okay, hey, let's get this show on the road again. Yeah.
You didn't ask me, but I wanted to tell you.
Oh, yes. What was I going to ask you?
What were you going to ask me?
Yeah.
About maybe what my highlight was for the year?
There you go.
Good gravy.
Well, other than waking up beside me every day.
Oh, I can't, guys. This studio is becoming smaller by the second.
I'm a wonderful human being.
You are. Oh my gosh. But he still didn't. Okay.
Oh, so.
Oh my God. Okay. He still did not ask me, guys.
Because you already said it. So why do I need to say it?
Because you're my co-host.
Okay.
It's the lead-in. It's the transition. It's the all of that.
Well, we've transitioned the hell out of this little segment right here. So what were your?
Oh. Good Lord, have mercy. Guys, okay. One of the things I'm super grateful for this year.
Yes. What were the things you were grateful for this year?
Okay. I was going to say him. I really was going to say I'm so grateful for him first. I'm not going to say that first anymore. One of the things that I'm very grateful for, and I would say, this is not something I say all the time, but I'm proud of myself for, is pushing through with designing and sewing, the consistency of that. I've had an amazing time just pushing myself, and my
and I will say, I'll just stick in there. Huge kudos to you on that, because again, right back to the whole thing of taking action. It's not an easy process. Anyone who thinks, oh yeah, you can just go ahead and fire up this thing, what they don't know because they haven't done it. Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
And you see it first. You get to see it firsthand.
So kudos to you. That was a big thing, a big accomplishment, and to see the growth from where you started from to where you are now, it's really remarkable. So you've done a really, really great job at pursuing that passion of yours.
Okay, I'll put you back at first at number one.
Thank you
grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you and our amazing babies, and they're not babies.
Far from it.
Oh my gosh. Our amazing children.
Anyone listening to that thinks, oh yeah, they still have babies. No, we don't.
These babies are 6'5" and 5'10", just to give you a visual of that. But I'm so grateful for you guys. I am grateful for taking this desire that I had for so many years, and it's been 1.5 years, going on 2 years now, and just, saying, hey, I'm going to teach myself, I'm going to do this, and doing it and sticking with it, and having a collaboration already within this short space of time with a fabric company. It might seem extremely minor to people who've been doing this for years and this is just their norm, but for someone who's just fresh in the game, something that is a big deal. It's a big deal. So that's definitely two of the things that I will say I'm very grateful for, and I'm grateful that we've been able to stay afloat, and I am super grateful that you are my best friend and you're just as crazy as I am, or you embrace my crazy and I embrace yours.
Yes, because I'm very level-headed.
Oh my! Listen, let me get out of here before this gentleman starts. Let me get out of here before I have to press the eject button. Well, guys, that is a wrap on the final episode for this season. Thank you so much for joining us along the way and making this desire of mine become a reality and being a part of it. And as always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, review, and share The Skinny with others. Let us know your thoughts, takeaways, and give your feedback on moments that stood out to you. It's truly important to us as we continue to evolve and grow this amazing what is going on? Community. Ooh, if there are topics or guests that you'd like to hear on the show in our next season, please don't hesitate to drop us a line. You never know. My co-host may be this gentleman over here. You are very loved. Thank you again for being here with me.
Quite welcome.
Yeah, you can always find us over at SHAYZON.com, and let us know your thoughts on having this gentleman as a permanent co-host, or maybe a regular visitor as a co-host. How about that?
Okay.
Yes. So head on over to @SHAYZON for a sneak peek. You're making me blush, babe. I'm messing this up.
Going forward, those gaps would probably not happen anymore.
Listen, I guarantee you
that
they
would. Happen?
Yes. Anyway, head over to SHAYZON.com. You can read up about all of the episodes. There's, episode write-ups there. You can drop us a line for all the goodies and the latest updates on the show and the season up ahead. You can head over to Instagram @SHAYZON. SHAY, Z as in zebra, ON. I think I made it to the end. Have any last words?
No, I mean, next season, new episodes, new topics, new...
Yeah, we keep flowing.
Stuff.
The visual of it might be... We'll see. I don't want to put anything out there and I'm not able to make it happen. But there's definitely some new ideas that I would love to have happen for season 4.
Cool.
Yeah. You guys have an amazing holiday, and sending you all the love. Remember, you are amazing and beautiful and deserving of all that's great.
Deuces.
They can't see your peace sign finger. This is the podcast. You have to say it out loud.
Later. Happy holidays.
Bye. You've been listening to This Skinny with me, SHAYZON. Thank you so much for sharing your time and light with me in this space where you are heard, seen, valued, and loved. Never forget you're beautiful and deserve to live a happy and empowered life. Meet you back here for next week's episode. Bye, honey bunnies. Mwah.